two, one, two, three, four.
Danke, thank you. Guten Tag, hope I say this word right. Guten Tag, Konfessionslosen. Did I say it right? When we came here 3 years ago, I loved that word. Konfessionslosen. Somebody say it. Konfessionslosen. Okay, with no faith, no confession. I love that word. The Germans have added so much to the world. And in my country, in the United States, we were settled by a number of German Freigemeinde, the free community who came over to Wisconsin and St. Louis and Chicago, other parts, to start traditions of no sermons, no church, completely Konfessionslosen. And the Freedom from Religion Foundation has picked up on some of that. In fact, we call our national headquarters Free Thought Hall because of the Free Thought Hall that the German Freigemeinde came to set up in our country. And we believe at the Freedom from Religion Foundation that the best hope for a peaceful world is secular government. The government be secular. That won't solve all the problems, but it's the best hope. So we just passed 22,000 members, the Freedom from Religion Foundation. We are growing fast. The world is changing. We're trying to catch up with Germany. We're trying to catch up with the free thinking that's over here on this continent, and we're maybe getting a little closer. But we have a tradition at the Freedom from Religion Foundation we've been doing for years, is we have stolen one of your songs, Die Gedanken sind frei. Although I only know it in English, but for almost 40 years, every annual convention of the Freedom from Religion Foundation starts with that song. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts freely flower. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts give me power. No scholar can map them, no hunter can trap them, no person can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei, no person can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. I think as I please, and this gives me pleasure. My conscience decrees, this right I must treasure. My thoughts will not cater to pope or dictator. No person can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. No person can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. And should tyrants take me and throw me in prison, my thoughts will burst free like blossoms in season. Foundations will crumble and structures will tumble, but free people shall cry, Die Gedanken sind frei. And free people shall cry, Die Gedanken sind frei. And I'm sure you all know that the word dogma is like the English word for dog. And so if you have an angry dog out in your yard, you put up a sign that says, beware of dog. Well, I think we freethinkers should say, beware of dogma. Music is a tango. Did you know that the church outlawed the tango? Did you know that? Do not dance the tango. It is sinful. It is sexual. It is temptation. Do not dance the tango. So, of course, everybody wants to dance the tango. Beware of dogma. It has a bite. Beware of dogma. It wants a fight. Beware of dogma. It will ignite a holy war by itself. Beware of dogma. It'll trap your mind, religious dogma. It'll make you blind. Beware of dogma. It's not designed to let you think for yourself. If we let it out in the universe, there will be no doubt. Everything is worse. Beware of dogma. Don't let it loose, that unchained dogma. It'll reproduce. Tie up your dogma. There's no excuse for ignorance anymore. Beware of dogma. Don't let it loose, that unchained dogma. It'll reproduce. Tie up your dogma. There's no excuse for ignorance anymore. Please clean up after your dogma. So beware of dogma, and the best way to fight it is with a government that is not for religion or against religion, but a government that is neutral, that is secular. And that's what we work for at the Freedom from Religion Foundation. We have 6 full-time attorneys working every day, full-time jobs, plus a number of legal interns, fighting the violations of the separation of religion and government. When I was a child, I don't know what you say here in Germany, but when I was a child, we sometimes would get in fights in the playground, you know, get out in the sand and in the grass, and until finally somebody says, "Say uncle." Do you have that expression? Do they do that in England? Do they say uncle? Oh, they don't do that? Maybe just in Canada, the United States. Say uncle, you know, which means I give up. Okay, I say uncle, I give up. So my talk today, which is very brief, is called Uncle Shalom, because we want to talk about peace and world peace. And when I was a Christian minister, I used to think peace came only through Jesus. You know, when Jesus was born and the angels came down, peace on earth, goodwill toward men, that we can only have peace if we submit to this Lord and the Savior, this dictator. In Christian theology, peace is a top-down concept. It's from up above. Peace comes from up above and comes down upon you. Peace on earth, the angel saying, goodwill toward man. Of course, you cannot have peace on earth if you don't have goodwill toward women as well, not just to men. In fact, I heard Isaac Asimov say that he thinks the single most important progress for the world would be the improvement of women's rights and women's status within society. That would improve almost everything, would be different. But notice that within religion, everything is top down. Everything is from up there. It's a sovereignty. It's a Lord above us, a master who is above us all. And in order to have peace on earth, you have to say uncle. You have to say Jesus. You have to say, I give up, I surrender, I submit. What does the word Islam even mean? Submission. I bow down to you. What are the postures of prayer? When you see somebody praying, what do you picture in your mind? This, right? What is this? The wrists are shackled together like a slave before a master. You bow down like this. You are humble, you are prostrate. I am nothing, you are everything. It's top down. It's all the love from above. And that's one way to have peace on earth. In fact, the Pax Romana, we all know about the Pax Romana. What was that? Was the Pax Romana just, let's all just love each other and trust each other and get along in the world? Was that what the Pax Romana was? What was it? It was imperialism. The Pax Romana happened when the Roman Empire was able to conquer all the neighboring threats to their authority to conquer them, to either turn them into slaves, to turn them into subjects, or to eliminate the threat. And then you would have peace on earth. It's a top-down model. It's from up above coming down to us, that we have peace coming to us from some authority up high. In the United States of America, we took that and turned it upside down. We still have a lot of ways to go to catch up with Europe, but we turned it upside down. Before the United States of America had a constitution, all governments in history were based underneath something up above. Some monarch, a king, a sovereign, a dictator, a lord, a master that we bow down to, that we raise our hands to. We still have it in our society. We still have this feeling of a monarch up there that tells us what to do, who guarantees our peace for us, a very top-down model. But we took that in the United States of America and we went like this. No, there's no authority above our country. There's no Lord, Master, God. We did this. And what are the first words of the United States Constitution? We the people. We have a bottom-up idea, not a top-down idea of peace, imperialism. When I was a Christian minister, I used to think the only way to have peace is to submit. That's what it means. You be quiet. You have to say uncle. And do you know that in the Bible, the Hebrew word shalom, that Hebrew word shalom does not mean let's just all get along with each other and be nice and trust each other and just have good feelings. That's not what the word means. The word shalom in the Hebrew was very much like the Pax Romana. You have peace on earth when God's authority is unquestioned. Let me read to you a verse from the Bible to prove what the word shalom actually means. In Deuteronomy 20, God through Moses is telling the Israelites, how do you treat the people that you meet? You're going to go into the promised land and you're going to kill all those people, kill them, move them out, genocide, ethnic cleansing, every man, woman, child, even the animals. But what do you do about the neighboring nations that are threatening to you? What do you do about those nations? Let me read to you what it says here. And this is the Hebrew word shalom. When you draw near to a town to fight against it, offer it terms of peace. See, the Bible talks about peace. Isn't it a nice book? Peace. What does that actually mean? When you draw near to a town to fight against it, offer it terms of peace. If it accepts your terms of peace and surrenders to you, then all the people in it shall serve you at forced labor. If it does not submit to you peacefully, but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall put all its males to the sword. You may, however, take as your booty the women, the children, livestock, and everything else in the town, all of its spoil. You may enjoy the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you. You shall treat all the towns that are very far from you, which are not of the towns of the nations here. So in other words, peace on earth meant you need to subdue them so there would be no threat to the great authority of the Lord, of the master, of the top-down authority. That's the word peace. But what about the towns that are in your own promised land, the land that God gave you to go in and take away, to take from those people? As for the towns, those peoples that the Lord is giving you as an inheritance, you must not let anything that breathes remain alive. You shall annihilate them. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. I wonder how she's translating all of those words. Just as the Lord your God has commanded. It gets better or worse depending on your perspective. So, lest you think the God of the Bible is not compassionate and does not have mercy, God shows us in the next verse how merciful and compassionate he is. Listen to this. If you besiege a town for a long time, making war against it in order to take it, you must not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. Although you may take food from the trees, you must not cut them down. Are the trees human beings that they should come under siege from you? So you can kill all the people, turn them into slaves, make them work forced labor. That is shalom in the Christian Hebrew, Judeo-Christian scriptures. But trees are not human, so let the trees live. That's what peace means in the Bible that I used to preach from. Peace was the top-down model, the shalom. Really the word peace, and even Jesus in the New Testament, who adored his Father, who quoted from this very same verses of the Bible, he said, I and the Father are one. Even he had a concept that peace was imperialistic. Peace in the Bible is a violent word. Peace is not a gentle word in the Bible. In religion, peace happens when the top-down authority forces its will upon the people. I have a brand new book that just came out in April. It's called Life-Driven Purpose. And some of you might know there's a book, very popular book by an American author named Rick Warren called Purpose-Driven Life. Well, I think we should not take the top-down model, purpose-driven life. I think we should turn it around. As free thinkers, as confessionslosens, we should take everything that religion has and turn it this way, just like the Constitution did. Turn it upside down. Turn it backwards. Instead of looking through the binoculars through the back end, turn them around and look through the right end. Then you can see the world. Religion has got it backwards. They're looking through the wrong end. They're looking from top down rather than bottom up. We are animals. We are biological organisms in a natural environment. We are not souls. We are not spirits. We are not supernatural. We are biological organisms. And if we look at the world from bottom up, that's why I titled my book, not Purpose-Driven Life, but Life-Driven Purpose. Rick Warren starts his book with a single sentence. It says, it's not about you. So guess what my first sentence is? It's all about you. Yes, it is about you. Of course, morality and truth are not about you. They can be true or false or right or wrong. But purpose can't be right or wrong. Purpose can't be true or false. Purpose can't not be about you. Purpose is how you choose to live your life bottom up, not top down. So many believers think, somebody tell me what to do. What is my purpose of life? I'll tell you that we atheists and we confessionslosens offer the truly good news to the world. Not the good news, the fake good news of the gospel, but the truly good news. And this might sound wrong. This might sound counterintuitive, but this is truly great news. There is no purpose of life. That is good news, because if there were a purpose of life, then we would be secondary. We would be subservient. We would be the slaves like this, asking the Lord for our purpose. Please give it to me from up there. Please give it to me. The fact that there is no purpose of life means that life is its own reward. We just get to be. We get to exist. If there's a God, doesn't he just get to exist? Does he sit up in heaven asking himself, what is the purpose of my life? How do I find meaning? Doesn't he just get to enjoy himself? Of course, there's no God, but you know what I'm trying to say. Why do we think we have to find our purpose and meaning out there above us somewhere, coming down to us? Why don't we realize that instead of having a purpose-driven life, we have life-driven purpose? Life is purpose. Purpose is aiming for a goal, to achieve something you want, or to avoid something that's threatening you. Why did the roots of the tree reach to the river? What is that? Why? What is the life that's there? We all have our lives. But a very important thing to consider is that even though it is great news, wonderful news, that there's no purpose of life, that does not mean there's no purpose in life. We have not a purpose-driven life, but we have life-driven purpose. As long as there's problems to solve, as long as that tree needs to find water, those roots are going to reach, right? As long as you need to eat or find shelter or resist predators or fight disease or you name it, you can think of 1,000 different things that are challenges within your life and within our life. Equality, the freedom to have education, the freedom to travel, the freedom to think your thoughts, the freedom to be yourself. As long as there are challenges, and there are many, there is purpose in life. In the book, Life-Driven Purpose, I write, asking if there's no God, what is the purpose of life, is like asking, if there's no master, whose slave will I be? I need to be somebody's slave. I need somebody to tell me, please. And as long as the human race continues with this humbling, prayerful attitude of submission before a master, there cannot be real peace on earth. Maybe there can be a top-down, violent, biblical type of imperialistic Pax Romana peace on earth. Maybe we could achieve that, but what kind of a life is that? Is that the kind of peace we want on this planet? Where everybody is just cowering and fitting in and, I better say the right thing and then there's no more problems? The peace is aimed at the authorities, not at us. If we want peace on earth, we need to turn everything upside down. Turn the binoculars around. Flip the Constitution upside down and make we the people, bottom up, the source of our own purpose, the source of our own goals. Who would dare say that someone like Elizabeth Cady Stanton did not have purpose in her life? She fought for, how long was it? 50 years, Annie Laurie? Annie Laurie wrote up some books about Elizabeth Cady Stanton and her friend Susan B. Anthony and many of the others. She fought for this crazy idea that women should participate in their own democracy. She fought for that because they could not do that. Women did not have those rights to not even go to college. They did not have the right to own their own property. And yet here was an atheist, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, a confessionslosen, is there a female? Lose. Oh, confessionslose. Okay. Plural. Okay. By the time this conference is over, I will speak fluent German. I really. So she fought for a problem that she had in her society. She had a problem that she needed to fix. I think most of you are here because you know that in society there are problems that need to be fixed, that we need to work on. So we have a life full of purpose, full of meaning. So getting rid of religion is not going to solve all the problems in the world, but it will go a long way towards having a world of real peace, bottom-up peace. Do we have time for questions, or do we just go to the next? We have time? Okay.
Hi, I've been following your activities on Facebook, and I've seen you have made a lot of very big billboards from the Freedom of Religion Association, right? Foundation. My question goes there. I've also noticed that there's a lot of like anti-propaganda from it, that it has resorted to a lot of, opposition, those billboards. How do you handle that?
Yeah, actually, we have had, I don't know how many hundreds now. Since 2007 was the first one we put up. The first one said, by the way, beware of dogma. That was our very first one. But we've also had imagine no religion, Maybe we should put up, all we are saying is give peace a chance. That might be a good one. Give real peace a chance. Yes. We put up these billboards. In Sacramento, California, there were 55 billboards at one time, a different face, like your face and your face with your own words on it. I can be good without God or whatever. Sometimes they are vandalized. Sometimes they are destroyed, which is very, very unfortunate. However, when that happens, it makes it onto the news. The newspaper, the television, they say, the atheist billboard was vandalized. So we get more publicity. So then we might have to move the billboard to somewhere else. So a lot of people do not see the billboard by the road, but they will see it on television that night. So, and it kind of backfires on those people when they try to destroy. Sometimes these children, they take balloons filled with paint and they throw it up there to try to destroy it. Well, then that brings attention to the fact, and it also brings some sympathy. Other people say you shouldn't treat free speech like that. So most of the time, it's pretty harmless. Although once in a while we do receive some serious threats, like all non-believers, and you know, we think we have it pretty good compared to someone like Taslim and Nasreen or other people in the country that are under serious threats. So we have to be careful. But on the other hand, if you're not making any enemies, you're not fighting any battles. You're going forward. So, how many billboards total do you think, Annie Laurie, in those years? Maybe 300 around the country? More than that? Okay. Anyway, in Atlanta there were 50. In Columbus there were 12. And so anyway, and most of the time they're local people.
Hi.
Hi.
Here. Regarding the lawsuits that you're doing, can you give an estimate of how much percentage-wise you're winning, or you're able to convince the judge that you're right?
Yes, we should win all of them. But you know what, judges and courts, right? Many of the lawsuits that we have lost, we did not lose on the merits, if you understand me. We lost on standing. For example, our lawsuit challenging, we sued President Obama for proclaiming the National Day of Prayer, right? And the judge said that is wrong, it is unconstitutional, you can't do that. But the appeals court came along and did not say it was right, did not say it was constitutional. The appeals court said, no, you can't go into court to sue. So we lost the lawsuit not because we were told that it was wrong. We lost it, a technicality, yes. We lost on standing, which means that we were thrown out of court, even though a lower judge said we were right. So occasionally we will just outright lose, but what are we, about 50-50 with strong? Probably half of them we have good victories with. The other half that we don't have victories with are not always on the merits. So it's difficult when some of the courts, some of the judges think it's a hot potato. Do you use that expression? Okay, it's a hot potato. They don't want to hold it. They don't want to do anything with it. So they throw it out of court. That's very unfortunate. We spend a lot of time. We have a good case, but when it comes to the schools, the courts are more careful. They don't want to put religion on the children in the school, so we have more success at that level.
Hello, Dan. This might be switching gears a bit, but would you sing us another song?
I can. I have about 50 songs. What do you think, Annie Laurie? All right. In honor of Charles Darwin, by the way, we just installed, one of our members created a life-size Charles Darwin statue that looks very real. It's kind of scary, actually. It looks. You can come into our office in Madison, Wisconsin. You will see and get your picture taken with Charles Darwin later in his life. And I wrote a song which was inspired by something that Richard Dawkins said in one of his books, Unweaving the Rainbow. Richard Dawkins said that he thinks we should have more science in the arts, more science in music, more science in literature. So I thought, well, why not try to write a love song that just simply assumes the fact of evolution? Thanks to Galileo for showing us our humble place in outer space. And thanks to Mr. Darwin for showing us the origin of the human race, which means that our precious romance is mainly the product of chance. And these feelings of love so frenetic are just genetic. It's only natural that I would want you. It's only natural that you want me. A million years of evolution had its way, so we can blame it on our parents' DNA. I move instinctively in your direction. Somehow you signal me to turn and see. You will always be my natural selection. As a voluntary choice, naturally. It's only natural that I would want you. It's only natural that you want me. A million years of evolution had its way, so we can blame it on our parents' DNA. I move instinctively in your direction. Somehow you signal me to turn and see. You will always be my natural selection. As a voluntary choice, you're my voluntary choice. As a voluntary choice, naturally. Okay.